Good evening, welcome along to this evening's Premier League tonight. The phones are out, which means only one thing. Social media. And look at this for a cast we've got this evening. Sit between them, 7 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions Leagues, 2 UEFA Cups, 4 FA Cups, 7 League Cups. What are you two talking about?
Steve's got the wickedest shoes on.
Actually, this is a good show to show. You've got to see these shoes.
These shoes are gorgeous.
Look at those.
Get on them, get on them.
Get on them.
That is suede with a shiny front in case anyone steps on them and you just wipe it off.
Yeah.
That's
What did you say? Yeah. They're gorgeous. 7
League Cups.
Yeah.
1 Golden Boot, 2 MBEs, 230 England caps and 1 £1,000 pair of shoes. What a line-up we've got on this
He's not having that. Of course they're not.
They were a Christmas present.
Were they?
Yeah, they were a Christmas present.
From Righty?
No, from my wife.
It's lovely. Did you buy her a pair as well? No, quite right. Right, let's look at the headlines from today. This is what's been happening across the Premier League. The Theatre of Dreams this season has become the Theatre of Draws. 7 home draws for Manchester United this season, the most they've ever had in the Premier League. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes, actually. Swans and Eagles lift off. Both of them were struggling. Both of them have got the results in recent games that they need to move out of the bottom 3. And what about the Foxes out of the woods? Shakespeare in charge today, 2-2 under him. The question is, will he get the job? How much further can they go? Right, so much to talk about. Let's start by talking about Manchester United. They were the early kick-off today, and here's Mike with what he had to say about the draw against Bournemouth.
Running theme this season, substandard teams at Old Trafford in the league, and we failed to finish them off. Look, there's no doubt that United's best chance of qualifying for the Champions League this season is by winning the Europa League. In cup competitions, we're strong, we're hard to beat, we get through those games. When we need to beat weaker teams at Old Trafford, we have players like Paul Pogba imitating the world's most expensive player. Wayne Rooney did nothing again. If Zlatan plays badly, invariably so do United. And look, we're against 10 men. We need to pass and move with tempo and open these teams up. The only player trying to do that with intelligence was Juan Mata. Everyone else was panicking, rushing. For the grand finale, long balls to Fellaini.
Here's a tweet. It comes from Samuel Luckhurst, who works for the Manchester Echo. He says, typical Man U, too many bottle jobs in the team. Humiliating result against a dire side and second half performance unacceptable. Booze at full time. How do you read this Manchester United side under Jose Mourinho?
I think it's a team that is improving slowly. I can see progression from last season in terms of mentality to win, in terms of the trophy they picked up last week, and the consistency in terms of an improvement in performance. Last season, there were fans that didn't even want to go, season ticket holders that didn't want to go to the ground. Now they want to go to the ground. They're inspired by Zlatan Ibrahimovic particularly. But as the table shows, you've gone on an unbeaten run of 25, 26 games, but you're drawing too many games. I'd rather see you lose a couple of games, but to pick up the 3 points and you're going to have more points and you'll be up in the top 4. I just think this team have still got a fair bit to go.
But the table also shows if they win their next match and the teams around them don't, then they're in the top 4. That's progression for Manchester United, surely from what we've seen previously.
Yeah, I think it's been miserable, hasn't it, under the previous 2 managers. I think Mourinho's done a good job so far, and you can see signs that they're getting close or back to, you know, how they've been over the Sir Alex Ferguson days, if you like. So I still think there are 2 or 3 players missing from the jigsaw that he wants, but you know, they've just won a cup. Yeah, it's a bad draw at home because they should have won that game, but I definitely see signs of improvement in the Man United team.
I think you have to look at what our man said there, that United found that if Zlatan don't play well, I think it's Mikey's name was, if Zlatan don't play well, then they don't seem to play well. I don't see, of course there is an improvement because they've won the cup, and it looks to me like, you know, that Man United getting into the top 4 will be progress this season, especially what's happened in the last couple of seasons. But when you look at them and you take Ibrahimovic out of it at the minute, you know, I
mean, look at that. That
tells
tells
you
you
a little bit of progression. But if he wasn't in there, when you consider how many games have they gone unbeaten and there's still 6, you know, I don't know where they would have been if he hadn't scoring those goals. So you have to say that's been quite an inspired signing. But I still think they'll probably nick into the top 4. But it's uninspiring stuff for me.
Yeah. They're 17 unbeaten. If they can keep that run going and start turning these draws into wins, then they will finish in the top 4, don't they? I mean, they seem to be more and more.
I fancy United finishing the
Fancied for that top 4.
I fancy they'll finish there, but they need to finish there more importantly because they want to go into this transfer window again, trying to attract the top players.
I mean,
it's so tough.
I think it's going to be Arsenal and Liverpool. I think
and Everton are coming into a bit of form as well. I think they'll just miss out
Liverpool
as well.
Ree?
I think Liverpool will do it.
I think Liverpool.
You think Liverpool will do it? You think they'll get into
Liverpool will get in the top 4? Yeah.
I think the problem is that all the teams we've just mentioned there have an inconsistency against the lesser teams, really, and I think that especially so.
But you'd think United top 4 now?
I think so. Yeah, I just think they've got into a groove and a mentality and a way of winning and not winning, but today they drew, but getting results, and I think they got their hands on a trophy. And you would have thought today that would have inspired them to go and win at home comfortably, especially against 10 men, but it didn't. But I still think Jose Mourinho is a type who will be able to pick them up and realign that. I think the biggest important thing, for this Man United team is Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Well, he's going to get a ban as well.
Yeah, will he be punished? If he's punished, like we see his goals, they rely on his goals.
And that would miss Chelsea in the FA Cup, then he'd miss Borough and West Brom. Those are the 3 games that Zlatan misses if indeed
and they're
he gets
the teams that United have been struggling against, the lower teams.
I have to say, with Arsenal's form at the moment, I do worry for them because at the moment you're looking at momentum and trying to build confidence. You know, we just watched the game where the best player in our squad has been left out, and and when he come on, he showed the difference he made. And you're trying to think, well, if you're going to be leaving him out, who's coming in to inspire and do this intensified kind of game that Arsene Wenger wants? Who's going to inspire the team? And so you have to worry for Arsenal finishing the top 4.
Jose Mourinho also has got this kind of difficult balancing act now of the Europa League, because he's kind of got so far through this competition that becomes a really good opportunity to make the Champions League regardless of the top 4. So how does he get that balance right?
I think that's where it'll affect them in the league, and I think, you know, once you get to the last 8 and the last 4 of the Europa, the games become an awful lot tougher, and you've got to play your team on a Thursday night and really go for it. And then if you've got a game on a Sunday morning, if you like, or a Sunday afternoon, it's difficult to recover and perform.
Those around them, Arsenal are likely to go out, aren't they? 5-1 down already. Spurs went out shockingly to Ghent. You've got Chelsea up there as well. You know, that there are a few sides left in the top, apart from
But one
City,
thing I would say, that when you're winning, doesn't matter, you want the games to come thick and fast. When you've got momentum at the end of a season and you concede as a finish line with trophies at the end, doesn't matter how many games you can play. Players come in, they're coming into a confident team, there's a confident environment in the change rooms, in the training ground, around the hotel, on that pitch, you're walking in confidence. So it then becomes just a battle of actually getting to the finish line first and making sure that you do that, because the confidence is there. Confidence is so huge and key at this end of the season.
OK, the last time that both Manchester United and Arsenal finished outside the top 4? 1979.
I was born a year later. Wow.
I was born a year before.
Well, I was born a year before, sorry.
You forgot when you was born.
It's OK, it's not live, we'll edit that bit. Get that out of the show. Yeah, OK. Right, let's move on and talk quickly about Bournemouth. Bournemouth were at Old Trafford today. They've been really struggling recently, dropping like a stone, but they picked up a draw. I'm sure there's some positivity from their fans. Here's Alex.
Last week I did a video after the West Brom game complaining about one of Artur Boric's blunders that I think cost us the game. This week he was phenomenal, absolutely colossus. I'm lost for words about how good he was, and he's essentially won us that point. What a performance from the entire team. It's been everything the last few weeks hasn't been. Hopefully that'll turn us around a bit.
OK, keep your thoughts coming in. Phones are out once more. You looking at social media?
Yeah, it's funny.
Or you're just trying to do some maths on your phone?
No, I'm just I'm working out my age.
Are you? When was Rio Ferdinand born? Right, lots of social media chat coming in on the show. Use the hashtag PL tonight. Jeff Mostyn, who's the Bournemouth chairman. What a heroic 10-man performance from the boys this lunchtime. A point against the odds and hopefully a change in momentum. Stephen Fletcher said stronger together. Alex Deutsche, you've just seen, said it was Artur Boric's best game in a Bournemouth shirt. But here's an interesting one. This is from Botto Mike on Twitter. Every player in the Bournemouth starting 11 today were playing in the Championship 2 years ago. We've just grabbed a point against Manchester United. Now, in some ways, you think, fantastic, well done. But that also tells you what a challenge it is going to be for this side to stay in the Premier League. I know they've got the points on the board, but it's been difficult the last few games for them, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it has. And we've still got to remember that Zlatan missed a penalty in that game. I know you can say that you still have to dig in at Old Trafford. It's, you know, it's always a tough one, but at the same time, you do look at Bournemouth and you do worry, because talking about 2 years ago, those players were Championship players, and I think that when you get to this stage of the season, sometimes you start to see that it seems to be running out a bit of...
But are they worse than Middlesbrough?
I don't think they'll go down. I think they'll stay, and I think this is an interesting time for Eddie Howe as well, because he's been talked about as England manager, essentially.
Arsenal manager.
Arsenal taking over from Arsene Wenger. So to see him in this position now, where it's been quite rosy in the Premier League for him, to see how he does adjust to this period of having a bit of an up and down area in the season, it's interesting to see. And they've got 5 points buffer, so I fancy him to be all right.
I think with what he's got, he's done a terrific job, and he's doing a terrific job. I think you look at the next two games, West Ham and Swansea, you can say the Swansea game is a 6-pointer. I think you'd have to say they'll have to get something out of the next two to have any chance.
Both at home as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? So Bournemouth, you have to say they might be able to nick those.
Okay. Right, we're going to take a very quick break, after which we're going to talk about Leicester. This kind of thing is what we're going to be discussing.
Absolutely delighted, obviously gutted for Ranieri, but clearly this proves that it was the right decision.
Right, Leicester fans, it's a call to arms for you. I have got the iPad right here. All you have to do is get in touch, use the hashtag PLTonight, and your thoughts may well appear on the television in a few minutes' time. As well as that, your three-word match reports, just let us know who you are and the three words that sum up your team's performance so far today. And the final part, we're going to talk about the race for the Golden Boot, the top scorers. Who would you like in your team and why? Get in touch with that as well. We'll see you in just a couple of minutes.
This programme is sponsored by Bet365.
This year's FA Cup has more magic than a David Copperfield chat-up line. So cue the clichés. Giant